Good afternoon, good evening, good morning. Welcome, everyone. It is a great joy to be here with you today as we receive the sacred words of Masaaki-sama during this week's study. This week, we will begin reading God and God Alone, delivered at the September 2022 monthly service at the World Church of Messiah headquarters. Have you ever looked at the world and think it is in chaos? How can such a world, which appears to be so inharmonious, have true peace? We look at all these events taking place around us and say, what could be the purpose behind it all? Furthermore, we hear the expression God's will, how Meishu-sama received God's will, and how we are here to follow in Meishu-sama's footsteps and receive God's will. But have you ever wondered, how can you receive this will of God? Or even, what does it mean to receive this will of God? These are some of the points we will begin reading in this sacred word, and so much more. So stay tuned as we begin right after this. As we begin today's study, let us, in the name of Messiah, which is one with Meishu-sama, one with Jesus Christ, recognize that it is only by God's grace and Kyoshu-sama's permission that we are able to hold these weekly studies. With hearts filled with gratitude for this permission, let us at this moment invite all our ancestors, the ancestors of all humanity who live and breathe within each one of us, and within each cell of our bodies, to participate in this study, acknowledging that the thoughts and feelings that we experience during this study are the very thoughts and feelings that God atoned for and forgave within each one of us. So, in the name of Messiah, let us together with them return to heaven as ones who have been forgiven and saved. This in mind, let us begin our study with the church canon. Church canon. With great fear of God, we acknowledge that the Lord God is our true Father, the one and only God. We revere Meishu-sama as the model for all humanity and as our own example to follow. Meishu-sama, who was born anew as the true child of God, the Messiah, by receiving the divine will that God accomplished in heaven. We believe that Jesus Christ, who 2,000 years ago embodied the name of Messiah, the name most holy and high, is serving the Lord God in unity with Meishu-sama. And we regard the sacred word of Kyoshu-sama, who reveals to us the will of Meishu-sama in this material world, as the sole, absolute, and irreplaceable foundation in advancing our mission here on earth. Words of prayer. God, I acknowledge that you are alive. Within me, you are alive. I thank you for nurturing me to be newly born as your child. May this blessing be shared with all. In the name of Messiah, which is one with Meishu-sama, I surrender myself to you. Please use me as you wish. Thank you very much. Every week I choose a post from Instagram for us to have in mind during our study. If you have not followed our church's Instagram page, this is a great time to do so. All you have to do is open Instagram on your phone, search for World Church of Messiah. Once the page opens, below the name of the page, you'll see the button to follow. Click on it. But it doesn't end there. On the top right-hand corner is a bell sign. Click on it to enable notifications. Make sure to enable all notifications. By doing so, you will be updated daily and in real time when new posts are made in the Instagram page. This is a great way to align our sonins and heart with the holy seat of Kyoshu on a daily basis. But don't let it finish there. This content is not meant just for us or for our own well-being. Click on the share button at the bottom right-hand corner of the post. Share it with your family and friends. I believe that there's no better gift that one can give a loved one than nourishment for one's soul and showing them the path to true fulfillment. So click that share button and spread the good news. You and I are here today because someone one day did the same for us and showed us this path. So let us share this joy with as many people as possible. With this in mind, let us go to the Instagram posts for this week. There are 3 posts for this week's study. All 3 of them come from Kyoshu-sama's sacred word from his visit with members in Hokuriku Kansai regions in 2014, on September 21st, 2014. And the first post reads as follows: We must know that because we have this light of salvation within us, it illuminates everything we have. We must know that because we have this light of salvation within us, it illuminates everything we have. The second post reads as follows: We become happy and sad because the light of salvation illuminates everything we have within us. We become happy and sad because the light of salvation illuminates everything we have within us. It's very interesting, right? As Kyoshu-sama sharing with us, because this light exists within us, everything is illuminated. And when everything is illuminated is why and the reason we feel happy or sad. Right? I think that for a long time, at least for myself, right, I could say that when I was feeling sad, when I was feeling down, we'd ask for light, right? We'd ask for somehow for these feelings to be taken away or eliminated, right? But it is the very light of salvation that is allowing me, permitting me to see and have these feelings of happy and sad. This is a very different way of seeing the world. Wouldn't you agree? Furthermore, Kyoshu-sama shares on the next post, he says, God's light illuminates everything. It sheds light on everything we have. It creates both sunlight and shade. God's light illuminates everything. It sheds light on everything we have. It creates both sunlight and shade. When we think about light, we usually think about light in terms of sunlight, right? Or in this light, there's light and there's shadow. But look what Kyoshu-sama is sharing with us. There is a light that creates both sunlight and shade. It's beyond. So sunlight and shade, both light and darkness, exist within God's light. And we're only able to see it through and because of God's light. This is very, very, very big, right? And I think that it fits so well with the sacred word we'll be reading today, Masaaki-sama's sacred word, God and God alone, because in this sacred word, we will see this very essence of God's light, right? This light that exists, that makes everything appear, light and shade, right? Good feelings and bad feelings. So with this in mind, I'd like to start the reading for this series of our studies, God and God alone. So this week would be the first part of our reading, and then we'll pick up in the following weeks, giving continuation to that. So again, this was delivered in September 2022 at the World Church of Messiah headquarters service. Masaaki-sama begins the reading with, "Hello everyone. During the service, a member began purifying and Masaaki-sama touched upon it. Is this person just now all right?" From the staff, "Yes." "So the weather today?" "Well, now it has cleared, but earlier this morning it was raining somewhat. Anyhow, the rainy season ended usually early this year with a water shortage. People were wondering if crops would grow or if there would be enough water. But later, although some areas did not get rain, a lot fell over the whole country, didn't it? In this case, the way we see it, we may say to God, 'Can't you do a little better?' Everyone laughs. We hold the view that this is inharmonious and may think, why can't God extend the rainy season to the normal length? And rather than extreme rainfall, have it fall in a nice, balanced way." Everyone laughs. But actually, for God, he says, no, this is harmonious. There is a sacred word entitled Theory on Harmony, and there, Meishu-sama says that what seems to be inharmonious to human eyes is totally harmonious to God. It is perfect harmony. To view something as inharmonious is shoujo, narrow-minded, and to view it as harmonious is daijo, broad-minded. So what looks inharmonious to us at one glance is actually necessary to God. He is making the situation just right and well balanced for us. This is not only for the weather, of course, but also for human relationships or our bodies. There are many things that appear to be inharmonious. Difficulties with neighbors, not getting along with siblings, issues with the body. Like so, there are many situations that look inharmonious, aren't there? As for myself, this summer, what seemed like a rash broke out on my hands and feet, as well as a little on my neck. It was quite considerable, but now it has started to calm down little by little. In these cases, it first seems inharmonious to us. We wish to make it stop right away, but from God's point of view, it is harmonious actually. Physically speaking, a rash means that God is trying to rid of unclean blood. And Meishu-sama is also of the thinking that this is good for those things to come out. So a rash is a good thing, right? On one hand, we want it to stop. But on the other hand, sure enough, if there is something unclean, it has to leave the body. Looking at this through the standpoint of religion, we would say something like, we are being purified. In my case, the rash appeared mainly on my hands and feet, and I was thinking about what it could mean. I came to the thought that God's hands and feet are the extremities, the end parts of the human body, the extremities to God, that is, the very end of his creation. This is the heart of a human being. So in order to receive God, for my heart to become a more suitable one to receive God, God is purifying me right now. This is how I accepted my rash. What is more, all kinds of thoughts and feelings well up within us, from matters having to do with our bodies, our relationships with neighbors, etc., right? Wanting to be healed quickly, or wondering if an illness will continue forever, or doubting whether our complicated human relationships will ever get better. These kinds of thoughts and feelings well up within us, don't they? But actually, it is in these ways that God gathers all sorts of human thoughts and feelings into each and every one of our hearts and minds and uses us for the purpose of salvation. Now, through my own rash, I have been thinking about it like that. Making a quick pause here, this sacred word of Masaaki-sama brings us to a completely entire new awareness regarding what's going on around us, does it not? I mean, look at what Masaaki-sama is reflecting on from his own purification, his own situation with the rashes in the most extreme parts of his body, right? His hands and feet, and in this case, his neck as well. Him showing us that God uses every situation, everything around us, to gather all sorts of human thoughts and feelings into each and every one of our hearts and minds for the purpose of salvation. As we are reading in the beginning of the study through Kyoshu-sama's sacred words, that light of salvation exists within us. And it's because it exists within us that we are able to have thoughts and feelings of good and bad. And in regards to everything that exists, God is using that very heart of ours to gather those thoughts and feelings for this light of salvation, to illuminate that and bring everything back to Him and create something completely new, right? So as we see from this point of view, our view of all that is going on in the world changes, does it not? Of course, doesn't mean you're not going to have thoughts and feelings regarding a situation such as a natural disaster or an illness that you wish it would be healed or you wish it would get by faster, as even Masaaki-sama shares here, right? All these thoughts and feelings well up within us, right? From our view of what's going on. If the situation is going to get better or not going to get better. But as that process is taking place, God is creating harmony. God is actually harmonizing the situation around us. So it is not that the world is in chaos and lost in that chaos. On the very opposite end of that spectrum, it is moving in the direction of true peace, of true harmony. And this view, of course, is only possible if you acknowledge that God exists in the first place, right? That light of salvation exists within us in the first place. That God is doing this in the first place as we are being shown here. And Masaaki-sama continues. He says, "Now then, there's the matter regarding the content of my messages for the services. Under the permission of Kyoshu-sama and under his authority, I am now able to see all of you at grand services and monthly services in this form, extremely frequently." Everyone laughs. I mean, I'm very happy about it. But at the same time, there is the question of what I will be speaking about. As my state of mind, sometimes I think, this time I want to talk about this, 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 and this. At other times, there's nothing. Even as the service nears, nothing. Everyone laughs. I have these kinds of moments too. But in the end, mysteriously enough, as the service approaches, regardless of whether I'm thinking about something or not, through various things that happen in my daily life, when I'm with family or hearing various reports about the movements within the church or things going on in society, what's going on in my own body, of course, these and a host of other matters. From here, a direction of my speech is formed. Sure enough, sometimes I am made to go in a direction that I had not intended. that I had not been thinking about. This kind of thing happens too. Then I feel, perhaps through me, Meishu-sama and Kyoshu-sama want to convey these matters to everyone. So rather than feeling like I am speaking to all of you one-sidedly, I feel more like with my messages, I must receive these matters as God and Meishu-sama's will, together with all members. Although, of course, in form, there is someone who speaks and there's someone who listens. Well, of course, this is about the general outline of my talk. And on the actual day, as I look at all of you who are listening, there are times I feel I should say a little bit more about such and such. Don't worry, I'm not looking that hard. Everyone laughs. It's just that while I'm looking at you, when I sense something, I convey it to you. This kind of thing happens too. Just making a quick pause, right? Because this is really such special insight Masaaki-sama is sharing with us, right? Regarding the very essence of his messages, the very way in which Meishu-sama and Kyoshu-sama use him to share this sacred word with us. And at the same time, he's not only one-sidedly speaking that, but also receiving this sacred word as well, right? Which shows us what heart, right? What posture we should have in receiving this sacred word. Truly, it is a sacred moment for all of us receiving this direction and sacred word through the mouth of Masaaki-sama. And he continues, in the end, as we are under the leadership of Kyoshu-sama, Meishu-sama's direction is being revealed to us, and we are able to receive that together at opportunities like this. Were it not under the leadership of Kyoshu-sama, we would be scratching our heads in wonder, trying to understand the whole time. But the path of faith, the path of God, is not about studying hard. With only that, it would be rather difficult. Let's make another quick pause here, right? Because I believe this is a very, very important point, right? It's not about having access to the sacred words of Meishu-sama, all his writings, and saying, well, I'm going to study this very hard and perceive his will. I'm going to be able to share. Anyone who tries to perceive Meishu-sama's will by only studying hard will never grasp the true essence of that. Without the holy seed of Kyoshu, without this very intimate relationship that exists between Meishu-sama and the holy seed of Kyoshu, there is no way one can grasp the essence of Meishu-sama's sacred words. We can read, we can try, we can say, hey, this is how I get it, this is how I received it, this is what I believe, but it is not what Meishu-sama is conveying. That only comes through the holy seed of Kyoshu. And nowadays, after everything that happened within the church, after people trying to oust Kyoshu-sama, we've come to realize the very truth of this even more, right? We are only able to follow Meishu-sama because the holy seed of Kyoshu-sama exists. Only because Kyoshu-sama is conveying this will of Meishu-sama to us. And today we can see how long and how far we drifted from that very essence. So to say, I'm here to receive Meishu-sama's will, I'm here to receive God's will, and say I did it by studying is impossible. Only that will not get us there, as Masaaki-sama is sharing with us here today. This is vital, right? And it comes down to the core of what faith is. Do I truly believe that God is alive and Meishu-sama is alive and conveying this through the holy seed of Kyoshu? Or do I believe that Meishu-sama died, no longer exists, and whatever writings he left, by me studying very hard, I'll be able to perceive what he wrote there, right? It's very clear to us today. And I think for us, we have to be truly grateful, right, for this permission to follow in the footsteps of Meishu-sama, to have the holy seed of Kyoshu through Kyoshu-sama, following these footsteps, and learn, as we will be learning today, what it means to receive this will of Meishu-sama. Masaaki-sama continues. He shares, as we are under the leadership of Kyoshu-sama, Meishu-sama is revealing to all of us which way we should go next. This is what I think. I think about these kinds of things. What I would like to talk about to all of you today is receiving or accepting. To receive or accept. We often talk about receiving or accepting, don't we? And when we say receive or accept, the subject matter of what we receive could be many things, right? One of the first things we talk about receiving is Kyoshu-sama's messages. There's also purification. When a purification comes, like a physical illness or other kinds of difficulties, we may say, I receive and accept this purification. Or, for a more concrete example, when we receive specific instructions from our superior, we may say, received and accepted, I will take it up. If we think about it this way, when we say receive, what we receive can be plenty. It is countless for each person. But ultimately, through these matters, what is it that we are receiving? In those countless things, there must be something that runs through all of them. There are many Kyoshu-sama's messages. Every day, all kinds of issues arise, and we say we receive them. If we put every single thing that we receive on a list, that list would be really long. But I say there's something that is running through all of them. And what is it? For us, it is, of course, Meishu-sama's will that is conveyed through Kyoshu-sama. In one word, it is Meishu-sama. Right? We receive Meishu-sama. We receive this and that. But to put it simply, we are receiving Meishu-sama. Kyoshu-sama's messages, we receive this as Meishu-sama. Purification 2, we receive this as Meishu-sama, a blessing from Meishu-sama. Just making a quick pause, right? For the first time, only after receiving this sacred word was I able to see even a little bit that everything that is going on in our lives, everything that we are receiving, all of Kyoshu-sama's messages, right? All the purification that we are receiving, everything, there's one thing that we are receiving. And through them all, that one thing is Meishu-sama. This blessing from Meishu-sama, right? Guys, let's be honest. Have we ever thought about this? That there's one thing that penetrates all of this that's going on in our daily lives? Look how amazing it is to be receiving this from Masaaki-sama, from the sacred words that Masaaki-sama is sharing with us. There's no amount of studying that can get us to this point, to perceive the essence of this point. We are only being made to know this because it is being revealed to us through the holy seed of Kyoshu. That we need to acknowledge. We need to be very honest about that and frank about that. This is not something that is perceived through human power, human strength. And regarding this receiving, look at what Masaaki-sama is sharing with us here, because it is so deep and so important for us who are here trying to follow in the footsteps of Meishu-sama. He says, but when I say Meishu-sama, concretely speaking, it is Meishu-sama who was born anew as the Messiah. We're not talking about just Mukichi Okada, the person, are we? We're talking about Meishu-sama who was born anew as the Messiah. That is what we are receiving through all this. This Meishu-sama that was born anew as the Messiah. And what does that mean for us? He says, what I believe to be really important here is child of God. It is true that Meishu-sama does not use the exact phrase child of God, but he does use born anew. So there's definitely someone who bore him. There is no doubt that this someone exists, the one who bore Meishu-sama. There is no one else it could be but God, right? So Meishu-sama's last message was to be born anew as a child of God, Messiah. What's more, Meishu-sama said that it is not reincarnation. Rather, he was born anew, right? In reincarnation, you have to die first. And then reincarnation can happen. As Meishu-sama wrote, you are born and you will die one day. Then you will be born again and you will die again. This way your life continues for eternity through reincarnation. But Meishu-sama was alive. It was while he was alive that he said he was born anew. Which means, as we are alive right now, each and every one of us too, while we have life in this world, and even when we leave this world, we can forever receive to be born anew as a child of God, Messiah. This is to receive Meishu-sama. So, as we've been studying for a while, right? And we always say, receive Meishu-sama, receive Meishu-sama's will, receive God's will. Today, Masaaki-sama is clarifying for us, what is it that we are receiving? And it is this to be born anew as a child of God, Messiah. This is to receive Meishu-sama, he says. To receive this to be born anew as a child of God, Messiah, is not reincarnation. For Meishu-sama himself, as we just read, was alive. Right? So this is very, very profound. And only with this sacred word, only through the holy seed of Kyoshu, can we begin to unravel this mystery of what it means for us to receive this, to be born anew as a child of God, as a Messiah. And this is to receive Meishu-sama in everything going on in our lives. All the feelings, positive, negative, all the situations are leading to this path for us to receive this, to be born anew as a child of God, Messiah. So Masaaki-sama explains, and he says, whatever happens within our lives, you can receive it and say, I received the path to be born anew as a child of God, Messiah. This is regardless of what happens. This changes our perspective of how we see the world, does it not? When we look at the world and we see good and bad things going on, when we see what is apparently a chaos, and we just see it at face value of what's happening, it is very hard for us to find peace in what's going on, is it not? It's very hard for us to comprehend why such a thing is happening because we are looking at it from such a limited point of view, from a human mindset, human frame of mind, and trying to put the puzzles together with our own understanding and saying, it shouldn't be this, or it should be that, or we should change it like this, or it should work in this direction, right? And it's never ending because we can't find a solution with human mindset. But from God's point of view, as Meishu-sama is revealing to us, no matter what happens, we should receive it with the heart. This is the path to be born anew as a child of God, Messiah. This is all working toward that end goal. That is the one purpose. People say, even as we are seeking God's will and all things going on around in our lives, sometimes it's so hard for us to accept what's going on that we say, well, I don't know what God's will is. I don't know what God wants for me. I don't know how I should deal with this situation or this illness or that person because I don't know exactly what God wants for me. But that's not true. There is only one will of God for us as we are learning through Kyoshu-sama, through Masaaki-sama. That is for us to be born anew as a child of God. So no matter what happens, no matter what's going on, if we can receive it with the path, receive it with the heart, that this is the path to be born anew as a child of God, as Messiah, as Masaaki-sama is sharing here, regardless of what happens, then we begin to see the order in the chaos that's taking place. What's really going on in the world around us and within us that God wants to awaken us to, that God is doing behind it all, behind the scenes, right? Behind our understanding of that. Furthermore, Masaaki-sama says, I can put it even more simply. It is God's will that all of us become his children. So while there are many things that we could receive, what exactly do we receive? In one phrase, we can say, I receive God's will. It all comes down to this one point. No matter what happens, I will receive this as God's will. It's not a resignation to the situation. It's not a surrender, as in I give up to the situation. Well, it's God's will, so whatever. That's not what it means, right? It's to receive God's purpose, God's will for us to become his children. And furthermore, we'll be seeing in the sacred word what it means to receive this will of God. And it's so enlightening and it's so beautiful the way Masaaki-sama breaks it down for us. And I'm really looking forward to continuing this reading with you as we go deeper into receiving this will of God, this will for us to become his children. If you have not read the sacred word yet, or if you did, but it was a while ago, you can download the transcript through the link here in the video, provided in the video here. You can go ahead and watch the video, Masaaki-sama delivering the sacred word with English captions. That's also available in the description of the video. And I really look forward to continuing this reading with you next week. But let's try to keep in mind, even if we can only remember once or twice a day, that everything that is going on around us, all situations, good and bad, everything that this light of salvation, as we read earlier, is shining in our hearts, showing all these good feelings and bad feelings toward everything that we are experiencing, is for the very purpose for us to receive this will of God, this will of becoming his children. And I think that our daily lives, our interaction with God will change drastically, recognizing that God is alive within us, receiving this truth that we are receiving today through the holy seed of Kyoshu, through Masaaki-sama's sacred word. So with that thought in mind, I conclude the study here today, and I look forward to continuing this reading with you next time. May all glory and honor be returned to God always.